Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dads, listening to Tomcats, talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. This some weeding now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. Alright, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast.
Bum bum ba-da-dum dum ba-da-dum dum ba-da-dum dum. Hello everybody and welcome in to Winter is Blooming, a Game of Thrones rewatch podcast by us, the Penny Bloom Podcast. Today we continue the rewatch with Season 4, Episode 7, titled Mockingbird, written by D&D David Benioff and D.B. Weiss, directed by Alec Sakharov. What an episode it was. I am Colton Robertson, and I am joined by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
Oh, what up, what up? Always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it is always a pleasure to have you. We're coming off quite the banger last week with the Laws of Gods and Men, Tyrion's trial. And we kind of deal with the fallout briefly here. Tyrion, scrambling, and everything that goes with that. Littlefinger plotting up in the Vale. It's a good one. It's a good one. How are you feeling about this one overall?
Oh man, no, I was. They're really building up Tyrion's death here. They're I knew what all comes of this, and I know he, how Oberyn eventually will die and everything. I knew what all that comes, but I forgot the build up to it, and just how hopeless Tyrion is right now.
They're doing a lot to mirror Ned Stark and Tyrion's demises.
Yeah. Ooh. Okay.
There's a specific shot where it's when Oberyn comes in at the very end, where the screen starts black and then it slowly lights up Tyrion's face as he kind of looks up, and it's it's exactly what happened in the season 1, either penultimate. It was the penultimate episode.
Remember Varys came down and came in with the torch. Okay. I didn't even think about that, but no, they're definitely the suspense is building for real.
They do a really good job here. And what's funny is this is the sort of thing that benefits from them having killed Ned Stark in season 1. You know what I'm saying?
Actually, yeah. Cause he could actually go.
And the stakes are actually there. This guy is probably the most likable person in the show at this moment, besides Daenerys, but she's not in any direct danger or anything. So you genuinely believe Tyrion could die. You've watched Robb Stark go down. You've watched Ned Stark go down. You're like, why can't Tyrion? That's, if there's anybody who seems like he will go down, it is Tyrion. But, we got a goodie here. We got a few locations. Let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is the most in a couple weeks. But we will begin in King's Landing if you are prepared.
I am prepared. Let's
go ahead and ride. In his cell, Tyrion and Jaime discuss Tyrion's fate and the irony of Lord Tywin striking down both heirs if Jaime were to die being his champion. I loved this little conversation with him being like, I can't save you this time, man. As much as I'd like to. And this is just a very nice excuse. He wouldn't do it anyway, even if his hand were okay.
Yeah, no, and I don't know, I think it was really sad, Tyrion being he fully expected Jaime to fight for him. At least that's what I got out of this. He was I think that, I don't know, because he was smiling and all kind of witty for a little bit, and he's like, yeah, you'll do it for me, right? And then when Jaime was actually no, even if I could, I couldn't. He started kind of freaking out, being oh, wait a minute. If Jaime's not going to do it, I'll get Bronn to do it for me. He fought for me.
Yeah, but then he the way he plays with him there, and he's like, but can you imagine if you were to die trying to save me, how our family name would just be wiped out? Wouldn't that be hilarious? And they both just kind of were like, haha, yeah, that would be hilarious. Fuck our dad.
Yeah. Like, yeah, it's tempting actually. Like,
Yeah.
to actually think about that as an option, but yeah.
No, yeah, it's one of those scenes between Jaime and Tyrion. They don't get a lot of scenes together, but every time they do, it's always pretty impactful. I always enjoy it. But Jaime declines to be Tyrion's champion, of course, as he cannot fight well with the left. And Tyrion's like, well, then can you talk to Bronn for me? Bring him to me, and I'm hoping he'll stand for me like he did once upon a time. And Jaime's like, I don't know. And Tyrion's like, why? Who's she picking? And then we get a nice little cut to Gregor Clegane just murdering prisoners. Just killing prisoners because that's what he needs to do to train.
Is this like really the best training they have for him? You know, just killing unarmed, no battle, like I mean, is it just that he's so good that he doesn't even need training anymore? You know, really, it's just let's just let him.
I'm guessing so. Maybe they're just letting Gregor work on his shit while committing executions. You know, like maybe these people were going to the chopping block anyway, and they were like, you know what? If you got to if you got to do some shit, you go ahead. Because apparently he's just arrived in King's Landing, also. Cersei's like, welcome to King's Landing. They just had this like kind of ready for him. They were like, we'll make sure we have a load of prisoners ready for him to murder upon arrival.
I hope it's that way. I hope it's not that they were like, oh, the mountain's coming in. We just need some random people for him to kill. All right, you farmer, you whatever, you just come here. Like,
no, they're definitely from the cells. Like, they are definitely prisoners that he is murdering, which doesn't make it better by any means. But like, that's why they had such an abundance of them ready to just unload on the mountain. They weren't just like, we need volunteers. No, they were like, you're going to go hang out with the mountain and you'll probably die today.
Yeah, that's a big boy. I mean,
yeah.
God, and that's a real human too.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a real human.
That's a real man. And he is that large. Yeah, what's his name? I can never remember his full name.
Bjornsson or something. I think it's like very Swedish.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
Bjornsson.
Yeah. I don't know if he actually is Swedish, but I just think, I don't know, it sounds very Swedish.
Pretty sure that's Swedish.
Thorborn.
Yeah. Bjornsson.
Yeah, that's
Bjornsson.
That's I'd say that's probably Swedish, but no, they switched the actor a couple times, right? Because it wasn't always him.
The last switch. Yeah, this is the first time he's shown up in the role.
That's right.
I think this is the third actor to play the Mountain. They had someone different in season 1, then they had someone different in season 2, and I don't think he was in season 3 at all. So this is the first time and the last time that we will see, an actor change, or not the first time, just the last time.
Is this the first time he actually spoke, or did he actually have some lines before?
I think he's had lines. I think he had lines up at Harrenhal.
Yeah,
at some point.
I think that's what I remember as well. But like here, it's pretty simple. He's like, "All right, who am I going to kill, or who do I?"
And in his first appearance, when he like cuts off the horse's head and gets into all that and fights the Hound and stuff, I'm pretty sure he yells some shit like about how it's not fair or something like that. Like he's just a giant man baby.
Yeah.
But Cersei approaches him and is like, "Thank you for returning to King's Landing." And he's like, "Who do I have to fight?" She goes, "Does it matter?" That was kind of hard. That was kind of hard,
Yeah, it did go hard. I mean, God. Because does it matter? No, not really at all. Like, is there a name that they could say that he would be like, "Oh, okay, maybe I actually have to train now"? Like,
no, I think anything they could have said. He's an intense enough man that if they were like, "Barristan, sell me," he'd have been like, "Fuck that guy." You know what I'm saying? Like he wouldn't even. He wouldn't bat an eye, even if it is the greatest sword in Westeros. He'd just kind of be like, anyone there is, I'll just outmuscle them eventually, which is what he does.
Yeah. Damn. Yeah. No,
quite effective. But next up, we see Bronn visiting Tyrion in the Black Cells, and he's all dressed up. He's looking primp and preen.
Your usual clothing, Bronn. You know, what are you doing? What have you been up to? Yeah, Tyrion's like,
well, I have been married off to Lolis Stokeworth.
Hmm.
And he's like, oh yeah? Are you aware that Lolis has an older sister, Bronn? And that Lolis will not be getting the inheritance, and she will if her older sister dies before her father does.
So Cersei set up this to happen, right? So that Bronn wouldn't fight for him. So she gave him a marriage. So Bronn probably took it upon himself to be like, no, I want the younger. Like, do you think it was Bronn that decided to want the younger sister, or like Cersei just not giving him the sweetest part of the deal, like actually getting the inheritance or whatever? And because in my head, I'm like, yeah, Bronn just wanted a younger wife because he knew that he could just kill the older. Right,
he just wanted the younger one,
or something like that. Yeah,
no, like I didn't think about it like that. The way that I took it was that that the older sister's already married, but because
I guess I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I took it that the older sister's already married. Maybe they don't have kids, and therein there wouldn't be an heir to pass it on to.
Okay.
You know.
Okay. I thought he was just trying to get like the sweetest part of the deal. You know, he was like, "Well, no, I'd rather take the younger one, and I'll kill the older one eventually to get the castle or whatever."
I also took this to mean that Cersei assured him she would kill her.
Okay, that's
Bronn. I know Bronn's more than willing. You know, and I wouldn't put it past him. But
true.
I think
it
might be
from Cersei. It is a deal.
Cersei's probably like, "Hey, and we can hook you up a little bit. You know, like we got you." And he's like, one more time, bruh. Help me out one last time. I will be in your debt forever. And he's like, no, I've already got riches. I've got gold. I need a huge fucking castle. Do you have any castles? And he's like, no, I don't have any castles, but I could do this, and I might do this, and I may do this. And he's like, yeah, you could, and you might, and you may, but I know where I am, and you're a good little dude, but nah, I can't do this shit, man.
He's like, I like you. He's like, I like you, but I like myself a little more. You know, and it was just like,
the line where he's like, how can I even be mad, man? Like, am I supposed to be mad because you're a shitty dude with no conscience and no loyalty to anybody? That's why I liked you in the first place, man. Go ahead and do your thing.
Yeah.
Tyrion's
it's completely understood. You know, it's like, it's the mountain. Okay. Like, I mean, even if it wasn't, if it was pretty much anyone, but like,
and we already knew the mountain was like an uber powerful badass, but the way Bronn describes him, where Bronn, you know, and I know Bronn looks out for his back, and he's like, he probably wouldn't fight him anyway just because of his size, but he's like, the dude's giant, he's big, he's strong, and he is surprisingly fast for a man of that size. There's no fucking way I'm going to fight that guy. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I could try to run him out. I could dip and dodge as much as I can, but one wrong move, and that's it. You know.
And if you recall, that's exactly what happens.
Yep. Yeah. They did some very good foreshadowing here. Sadly, that's all I was remembering during this watch. Is like, I'll savor as much as I can, while we have him.
Yeah.
But. Yeah, no, they're playing the mountain up, that's for sure. Like, it wasn't just, we need a big guy to come in and do the killing. Like, they're really playing the mountain up as well, which was nice. But yeah, poor Tyrion. Like, Tyrion in these cells, it's just, it doesn't go well for him down there. Like,
never does. But this little goodbye was really sweet, mostly because I straight up don't think they see each other again.
Really? Does Bronn leave King's Landing?
No, he rides with Jaime. Tyrion leaves King's Landing.
Oh. So even because Jaime smuggles them out, right, of King's Landing?
Oh, they do see each other in season 7 whenever they visit King's Landing. The North visits King's Landing and is like, yo, we got to figure some shit out. You know, because there's like a big, like, they're like, you need to come north and help us defend against these motherfuckers because this is a problem.
That's right. But here, very soon, it's real. Man,
I think this is it until then.
Wow. Because I guess it would make real sense if he's getting smuggled out if Bronn's there to be like,
Yeah,
hey,
no, I don't think he is.
whatever,
I think,
but
and this has the weight of a goodbye. You know, like whenever Tyrion's like, well, I guess I'll have to fight the Mountain myself, and he's like, what a song it will make, and Bronn being like, I hope to hear it one day. You know, like the most genuine thing Bronn has ever said in this show. You know what I'm saying? Like you could tell, and that was a great little piece of acting by Jerome Flynn there, the actor for Bronn, because like he's always really hard and he's always got kind of the same expression, you know, but this is one of those scenes where he kind of shines in a way that he doesn't get a chance to a lot. And he kind of softens up there at the end, and I really, really appreciated that.
Yeah, because a usual Bronn line would have been like, no, I won't hear that. No one's gonna hear that song, you know. Or if it was anyone else other than Tyrion, like he would have just had some, you know,
funny. Hear that fucking
song. Like, but no, you're right. There was I didn't really realize it as a full goodbye, but like I knew it was a goodbye as like, you're about to go against the Mountain, you're gonna die. Like, I got that, but like as far as they won't see each other again, actually.
I don't think they do until season 7 at the earliest.
Wow.
But there's some interesting trivia when we come to that episode that I'll just go ahead and say now. Jerome Flynn and Lena Headey had a relationship in real life. They were together. The actors for Bronn and Cersei. And they had a very, 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 very messy breakup.
Ooh.
They never share a scene together. And there's a moment in season 7 whenever they are doing that council. You know, Bronn and Podrick are there because Brienne's arriving. Podrick came with her. Bronn's with Jaime. Everyone's reuniting for a temporary time. But then Bronn, like, when everyone's there, like Lena Headey walks into screen and like Bronn like bumps Podrick with his elbow and is like, "How about we let the lords do the talking?" And they like leave.
Really?
And they
actually get off screen. Wow, that's awesome.
I know.
Or not awesome, but
no, like it's funny. It's definitely funny as fuck. But a
lot of actual relationships in the show.
Like, Rose Leslie and Kit Harington, of course.
Yeah, an actual good one there. You know, I think they're expecting another child or something. I saw.
Oh shit!
Or maybe I don't know. I maybe that was a different couple.
Sophie Turner and Joe Jonas. Maybe they've been popping babies out like crazy. I feel like.
Yeah, I don't know where I saw that, but 7 days ago, welcomed their second child. I guess it's a girl already born, maybe.
Aww.
So delighted to have welcomed a little girl into our family. So have a 2-year-old son and now a daughter. So
love that for them.
Mm-hmm.
But nevertheless, we will then move on to the scene that holds 3 out of the 4 of my favorites here. Favorite scene, favorite line, and favorite performance all come from this one, where Tyrion is approached by Oberyn Martell in the Black Cells, where performance-wise, I'm going to give this to Tyrion. This will be my scene, and I will get to the line before long.
Yeah, I think this is actually a clean sweep for me as well. I have 2 options for my performance, and it's either Peter Dinklage or Pedro Pascal. Oberyn's getting the character. This is the scene, and then one of my lines that I have is also from this scene as well. So could be the full clean sweep.
We shall see.
Mm-hmm.
But nevertheless, he tells Tyrion the story of a recent visit he got from this cruel blonde woman. He's like, "Tell me all about it. I have all sorts of pleasures down here, but none of the ones I like." He's like, "Your sister," and he goes, "Oh." But the way he explains it, he's like, you know, she paid me a visit recently, and we talked a lot about her daughter, but she tried so hard to make me think we weren't talking about you getting killed, that I think she even believed it herself. And he says something about how it's rare, you know, a Lannister who has the same passion as him for dead Lannisters.
Yeah, that would be my line if it is coming from the scene. I love Pedro's delivery of every line that he says.
He's so
I don't
good,
know.
man.
Just
This
the
whole
accent,
storytelling
everything.
thing, like it's incredible acting and to learn. I don't know if I think this was off mic.
Mm-hmm.
You told me that this was the first scene Pedro Pascal shot for the season.
Yeah, and that's insane to like. He already feels like he's so enveloped in the character already. Like I never think about. I always think that they just go in chronological order, and that's how they do it because that would make the most sense for the character. But no, they just have to hop in wherever set they're on, whatever day they have to shoot.
In theory, it would make a lot of sense that a lot of Tyrion's scenes in the cells, like over the course of the entire season, were kind of just like, let's do as many of these as we can today.
Yeah.
You know, sort of thing.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, for that little tidbit, I already had Pedro as maybe my performance, and you given Peter Dinklage the nod. I'll give Pedro. I'll like my slot. I'll give it to Pedro because I don't know. I love just the storytelling here. You're right. Like when he was just telling the whole story, like, and just the like emotions that are like enveloped, like just Tyrion's getting pretty teary eyed, but like Oberyn is as well, like sort of. Not like crying, but I mean, he's
an emotional story.
Yeah,
you
like
know?
he's telling it
kind of shows his humanity in a way, like the empathy he holds for Tyrion and the reason he understands him and how long his understanding goes back. You know, like when he's like, we've met before. He's like, I believe I would have remembered that. And he's like, no, I don't think you would. You were just you were a newborn baby, basically, and. Me and my sister Elia, we were coming to Casterly Rock. My father was taking us, and we'd heard tale of the Lannister monster. He had a tail tucked between his legs and a head twice as large as the rest of his body and a glowing red eye. And we got there and we hung out with Cersei, and Cersei was like, we asked, can we see him? And Cersei was like, later. And then we asked again, and she said later. And then one day she took us to see you, and voila. The monster. And like, I looked at this is my line. Yeah. This is my line. Whenever he goes, I told her, that's not a monster. That's just a baby. And it's that moment that Tyrion's performance, Peter Dinklage's performance, cinches it for me. Like the way he like reacts to that, like the amount, the dissonance that this scene provides for Tyrion, for Peter Dinklage's performance, where like this sort of like, wow, nobody's talked to me like this about anything like that.
Yeah,
and then for it to be swept in with and then she pinched your dick until I thought she would pinch it off, and she's always fucking hated you ever since you were a newborn baby.
Yeah.
And Jamie, the way that like it turns into like a sorrow of like, I never even had a fucking chance. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's the whole reason he was telling the story. Like he knew, because he didn't come down there. Tyrion didn't convince him to be his champion. He knew that he was going to be Tyrion's champion before, and then he was just, not going to come down and just be like, yeah, you know what? I've decided I'm going to be your champion, Tyrion. Right. You're welcome. He did it the perfect, like, I don't know, like, gave him like, I mean, maybe he was like, I might actually die through this, so I'm actually going to give you my reasoning and everything. I don't know, maybe he was a little scared, but I don't think he was scared at all. I thought he
has a drive that he knows the Mountain doesn't in this fight. Whenever he's like, but I came here for justice, and he's like, then you are in the wrong place.
Yeah.
And I remember watching this for the first time whenever Oberyn goes, no, I don't think I am. And being like, oh shit, yeah. And Tyrion just kind of like looking up at him and him being like, I will be your champion.
Yeah. Oberyn was like, no, I'm in the perfect place to get the justice I want. And this was without a doubt the scene. Like whenever, I mean, it's like,
this might be the like, I know we were talking last week about how like the trial might be the scene of the season, but when I look back on season 4, this is a moment that sticks with me like extremely well.
Emotionally resonant. I mean, no battle, no extreme action. That's cool, but like, just a badass moment, like just, it gets you to actually like scream, this is like, fucking go, like, I don't know, cause like at this point, after Bronn and Jaime, like, I don't think anyone, like, we fully know that Oberyn, decides to be his champion. But like on first watch, that has to be like, I can't remember what my reaction was on first watch, but that was probably quite the shock. Just because they've been painting Oberyn as, any Lannister he hates, like completely, and even if Tyrion, like they didn't get off on the best foot at all, but then they had that one conversation where this sort of, like got along, I guess, if you want to say, but like no immediate hints to be like, oh no, this dude will be Tyrion's champion, like for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I feel like that'd be quite the shock. It was definitely the scene of the episode, but I could see it rivaling the
in
trial.
terms of just sheer excitement, and this was such a moment that I thought it was cut to black credits when he goes, I will be your champion. Like, that's what I thought that moment was. I thought that was the end of the episode. But then we get another scene that is even bigger. But we will get there before long. We will be heading to Meereen next, however, wherein Daenerys is surprised by Daario Naharis in her private chamber. She goes, how did you get in here? Him being like, well, your door is well guarded, but your windows are not. I scaled the pyramid.
Damn.
Yeah, like,
dude,
he's way the fuck up there, man. I don't know how he did that.
We were talking about how Oberyn has a drive that the Mountain doesn't. Yeah. Daario has a drive that no other man,
dude, and the way he hints, like the way that he, like he does, like I have two talents, war and women. Please let me do what I do best. Send me somewhere to kill your enemies. Send me somewhere to do something like that. Let me fight anybody you want me to fight. But the subtext there is like, you know why I'm here.
I swam a mile offshore for these flowers.
Yeah.
Like this dude, every time I see Daario now, I always think of like, if it's the other actor. Right. Like how, like that's always kind of what I'm thinking on this watch. But like this Daario, like I think he was doing pretty well here.
No,
like,
this is his best scene yet.
Yeah. I'm getting past that. Like I'm not wishing for it to be the other Daario anymore.
Not one bit. Like, and I think that and that's the thing, is that I don't think either one of them is necessarily better than the other at the performance of Daario Naharis. It's just that Ed Skrein felt a lot more like this medieval fantasy type. Like he looked like fucking Fabio. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like that was his vibe. But Michael Huisman has done more than to fill those shoes and do a very good job in the role, because he's quite as prominent as I remember throughout season 4. This is kind of when he starts to become more prominent because he's in Daenerys's bed and stuff. But this is a good fucking scene. But the way that Dany's like, I've got the second sons out there, patrolling the streets, and he's like, yeah, you do? That fucking blows though, man. I don't want to be doing that. She's like, you swore your sword to me, and he's like, yeah, and it's yours till the day I die. You tell me to stay here and patrol the streets, that's what I'll fucking do. I'm just asking you to give me an opportunity to do something else, and
good salesman.
Oh
Daario
yeah,
is
100%.
This dude knows how to talk.
100%. Yeah. And Dany's like, all right, yeah. Pour some wine. She goes, do what you do best. And he's like, what would you have me do, my lady?
What do you
Take
mean
off
by
your
that?
clothes.
Okay. Game on.
He said, all right. He slowly disrobes, and Daenerys' eyes wander from the top of his head right on down to his dick, and that's where the scene cuts off. That's
I love how it just cuts straight to Jorah though. Like it's like it like
you know this, you know who this hurts.
You know exactly what's happening in that bedroom, and you know exactly who would feel the worst about it. Yeah, let's cut right to him. But
it's so demoralizing for my man Jorah, dog. This whole fucking thing, dude.
Doesn't go well for Jorah here. These next couple of interactions. But man, he's walking in. He's like, "What? Why the fuck are you here?" And then Daario drops the line of like, "Yeah,
it's a good time. It's a good time.
Yeah,
She's in a good mood.
Very good mood, and Jorah from then on is like,
Right. Oh, motherfucker. Yeah, and when Dany's like, "You're here early," and he's like, "Later than some."
God. Yeah, he's so pissed.
Dany turns around. She's like, "Excuse you?" And
you
he's
don't
like,
approve?
Hey,
He's like,
hey, you do you. I'm just saying, not a good look. You know, we got shit to do.
yeah, and he's playing the angle of like, she's like, you don't approve, and he's like, well, no, I don't trust that guy. You know, he beheaded his leaders and put them on your. It's not like he's trying to spin like the war angle or like the strategy angle, but in reality, it's just like, no, I don't want you to be with any other guy other than me, Daenerys. So you 14-year-old child.
Given what's I gotta guess is happening within the next couple episodes. Is, you know, I don't trust that guy. How did we meet him? What, you know, like, what did he do to come into your company? And you're just going to let that guy become your closest counsel and into your bedroom and everything. You know?
It is fair, but I think Jorah's just, he doesn't want to say what he really wants to say, you know, but it is actually, you know, all of his counsel is pretty wise.
No, it is, and I just think about how it applies to Jorah himself. You know, it's funny him being a little hypocritical.
Okay, that's what you mean. Yeah. Oh no, now I see. No, that's...
like he's like, you know, what, and in really broad strokes, like, what did he do to get here? You know, he did something terrible, and now he serves you. That's essentially what Jorah did. You know what I'm saying? Like, but the jealousy is what drives him to be like, therefore we can't trust him. Yeah. Whereas if it was himself and him asking for a second chance, it's like, why? How could you not trust me? You know, like I've been by your side for so long, etc. You know, like that's the funny little dichotomy there. But Jorah's not quite amused, and Daenerys dismisses concerns about her intimate life. And Daenerys tells Jorah, you know, she's sent Daario and the Second Sons to take Yunkai once again to regain control over the city. And as a little subtitle here, kill all the masters. Just round them up and murder them all.
Jorah's like, whoa!
Jorah's like, okay.
Like, sure.
I'll hear you out. I get it. I do. But don't you feel that might be a tad much? And what's funny is, you know, I'm not a huge fan of Jorah's reasoning here. I do get Jorah's reasoning. But this is one of the things where it's like, at this point in time, you're just, Daenerys is right, you know? Like, you feel like she's good. She's the one whose rule we want to follow. And if she, you know, slavery bad, end slavery. Hard to not get behind, you know?
Yeah.
End slavery by killing all the people who owned slaves.
I think it was just personal with him. He was like, well, I mean, I wouldn't be here. You know, he's like, if you were doing that, like, I would be dead by your logic here. And I think, you know, what was his reason before that? Like, you know, it'd be nice to paint your enemies as evil, but it's not always that way. Like, there's always... Yeah,
he says something about how there's good and bad on every side in every war, and I'm not a fan of that logic. Sometimes there's just bad.
He maybe should have just said, like, instead of, like, debating whether these people are moral or evil or not, just being like whether the act itself of Daenerys killing all of these people will be good for her reign or not.
Yeah,
you know, like maybe
she, like whenever she goes like you know, so you don't think that treating people like animals and hurting them and doing this is evil? And he's like, I absolutely do. I don't think that's cool. But what you're doing is the exact same thing, hurting them and killing them. Like that's literally treating men like animals. And she's like, yeah, but they're shitty people and I'm not, so we're good.
At least give them the choice then, you know? Let's do that. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the best way to actually go about it. I mean, like, it's good to, I think, you know, killing them, that's pretty efficient.
I'm all right with that.
To go. Yeah, I'm there too. But this way it's kind of more badass to be like, hey, I can kill you and I have the power to kill you if I want. I'll give you the choice if you want to continue living.
Yeah, send his Darzo Larak out there, and let them know you know? So this is the deal. All the wise masters of Meereen have been crucified. Y'all can meet the same fate, or y'all can just fucking stop. How's that? And I felt like that's a good conclusion to this, you know?
And like Daenerys, like giving Jorah like this little like ounce of
little
like,
win,
dopamine.
You know?
Yeah, this
Let
like
Dario know that you are who changed my mind.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah, like and he was like, yes,
You
I
know?
will let him know. You know, yeah, I will let him know, Daenerys. Thank you for that. I don't know. It's
the small victories.
yeah, poor Jorah. I don't know. You're just you know quite out of your prime for Daenerys. I'd say you're a good guy ish, but just not in the game for Daenerys, especially when Dario's right there. Sorry, Jorah, but I don't think anyone's turning down Dario at this time. It's one of his two talents. So
yeah, war and women.
Yours,
That's kind of what
Jorah.
he's got.
Yeah.
He's on it like that. But we will then head to Dragonstone, where Queen Selyse speaks to Melisandre, who is enjoying a bath. And something that we haven't pointed out at all so far is how visually brilliant this episode is. Once again, the director of photography, Fabian Wagner. Something that really stood out was the way that he handles the way that he handled the nudity in this episode is really effective. You know, because I think it's whenever it comes to like ratings, you know, like this is TV MA, so they're gonna show ass and titties. You know, like it's just a fact of life. When it comes to Game of Thrones, but whenever stuff isn't that, the like extremes certain people will go to hide the nudity while also being like, yeah, and they're also naked, you know, like the things they'll do to like block it. I like the way that he like balanced it. There's something really effective about the way he shoots Melisandre from like straight on, and the way her arms are like tilted up on the sides of the tub. It like perfectly covers her chest at points, but then she'll like put them down, and it's like it's a back and forth. I think that's really effective. It makes it sort of I don't know. I think there's a way to shoot these nude scenes that aren't just like, look at this, look at them.
It's actually being used for Selyse to kind of be awkward about it too. Like you see it and like you're like, oh, well, there's Melisandre's tits, you know, and but you see like Selyse walk in and be like, oh, I can't. Like, look at that. And then they start to hide it a little bit and like it's not shown. And then she walks in. Like I feel like it's actually being used like for that too. And just to make Melisandre seem like this, like even though Selyse is a queen here, you know, like that's definitely not the dichotomy that's going on. Like, or that's not the tier level that's going on here. Like, Melisandre is definitely the more powerful or like presence, I guess. Not like literal. But just like
this was the first time I think I can't really. I wanted to work through what Selyse's mind is stirring over here, because there's an element that's it's obviously not lustful, you know. Her admiration for her body. I mean, she looks Melisandre up and down and rather slowly, just kind of works her way down with her eyes. But it's the first time I think we've seen like an ounce of jealousy, like a tiny conflict of faith within Selyse, whereas she's always just been like, he is the Lord of Light. We follow your bidding. Yes, you know, and she's explaining the potions, and like this one will drive a man mad with lust, and she's like, did you by chance use that on Stannis?
No, not at all. I'm just like that. And I think
walks away, and she just kind of goes, everything is fine as long as the Lord of Light bids it so. Like, it's kind of like reassuring herself. I want to make sure that I have like an accurate read on this scene.
No, okay. I think she looked her up and down to be like, oh, well, like this is who my you know husband got with. Doesn't make, you know, this, it's making sense. And Melisandre even brings it.
Things are adding up.
Like, yeah, she's like, you know, men never crave what they already have, or like something like, you know, and it's like, it's only flesh. Like, you know, for her to like, just to be like, it's whatever. We just did the thing.
Yeah.
But I think it's more of just like she's in this constant back and forth of rationalizing it and being like, yeah, it's okay. It's in the name of the Lord of Light. It has to be okay. It's what had to happen. But then also just the human way of thinking of being like, no, that was my husband, and you like that's I don't know, like that. I think it's just that constant back and forth there, and because even I think in some earlier episodes we were talking about how like she was just actually so far gone with the Lord of Light that she doesn't even really think of it as an act of like betrayal or like an unfaithful act. But I think that like this definitely goes to show that she definitely is thinking about it, yeah, and not fully okay with it. But yeah, because I mean, I think why would she like? Did you use that on my husband? Like, I don't think that line isn't in there. And then Melisandre would be like, no, I didn't, not at all. I think I don't think that's in there unless they want to show that Selyse is somewhat jealous,
right?
A little bit. But yeah, I think a little from this scene, everyone's focused on just the nudity and stuff. But there's like a little interesting thing that she doesn't have her necklace on here at all.
Oh yeah, she doesn't.
And like whenever she takes it off eventually,
That does get retconned, doesn't it?
Yeah, people were wondering if maybe the little blue bottle that she had Selyse grab to bring over is like the little thing that fixes that or whatever for the time being or like whatever. But people are like, it's like a little plot hole that doesn't matter whatsoever. No. Yeah, like it doesn't matter. But I love that people are always like, yeah, no, we have to fix it, and it has to like because she takes the necklace off and eventually dies. We have to make sure that this works in universe. And it's like they just weren't thinking about that.
No, not
it's
yet.
Just like,
it just wasn't written that way.
In a bathtub and naked, and it's like, yeah, it's just not how it was yet. But I love.
No, that's interesting.
I used to be that way totally with like Marvel and all the other shows. I'd be like, oh no, like they for sure would have thought about this right now, and it has to be a plot hole. So how does it end up working? Yeah. But yeah, the little blue bottle is what people go with. Is that little, and it's definitely just some like essential oil to make her bath smell better. It was literally that was it. She's like, I'm not gonna have a good bath in a long time, so I'm gonna make this one count. So like she just sprinkled in some stuff or whatever, but
I love it. No, that's funny. Yeah. That hadn't even occurred to me. But I love the way Selyse is like yeah, I'm not real happy about what Stannis wants to do here, man. He wants to take our fucking daughter, who I just can't fucking stand. I mean, I don't want to do that. And Melisandre's like, it's going to be fine. Where we're going, she'll be needed.
Yeesh. Yeah, this was just hard to hear.
Yeah, it was like, wow, yeah, she's been kind of holding on to this one. She's been putting it off for as long as she could. I think sacrificing Shireen, but she knows one day she's gonna have to. So she's like, you know what? Let's go ahead and bring her.
Yeah, that's was just rough. Like, and like kind of breaking the ice early to be like, yeah, like, the Lord of Light will take anyone, and even if it's someone close to you, like that's got to be okay. Like I forgot like what the line or the verbiage was immediately or like right away, but like kind of like breaking the ice early just to be like, yeah, no, your daughter will eventually, we'll just burn her at the stake. Just
probably gonna happen.
We'll just break that news early to you, I guess, but not totally. Yeah, because on first watch, you're just like, you have no idea that like she's actually gonna get burned. But man, yeah, that's rewatch is like it's a whole different thing. Just knowing what comes, like
it's
like
kind
with
of heartbreaking, man.
Yeah, like Oberyn, I'm savoring every sweet moment, but then like a moment like this, it's like, it just feels worse.
I've been so preoccupied with this other thing I'm savoring that I forgot that that's definitely going to happen. There's just so much bad shit that happens in the show that you just gotta it comes as it comes. But we're next at the Wall, where Jon and his fellow brothers return from Craster's Keep. And everyone's greeting them. But Alistair Thorne Can't wait to just get Jon. Just come at him for some reason, you know. You're fucking wolf. Can't have that. No place for a beast here.
It even seems that like that wasn't even on his mind when he came out. He was like, "Hey,
Lord
Snow!"
Snow. And then
he like looked around. He's like, "Oh yeah, you're fucking.
We can't have that dog here."
And it's like, why wouldn't you? Like, you're about to be attacked, Castle Black, at any moment. That's the best warrior you got on your whole fucking squad, other than Jon. Like, you don't have anyone else there that could do that, like, fighting as, like, I don't know. I don't think I'd want that dire wolf.
I don't think I would either. I don't think I would either.
Yeah.
But,
I guess he doesn't make the best of decisions for the wall.
No, and that's something that kind of stood out in this one, is that he's trying his best to belittle Jon as much as he can, even at the cost of the men's lives. Like in the next scene, when Jon's trying to convince them to barricade the wall. Let's collapse the tunnel, fill it with ice and rock, and let's do it that way. And he's denied after being reminded, you know, the wall has stood for 1,000 years, and never once have we had to seal the tunnel. Never once in your history, Sir Alistair Thorne, did your numbers dwindle to 102. You can't afford that. Like, you got to go ahead and go, let's recognize the situation we're in. He's got an army of tens of thousands. What is it? 100,000 wildlings? Is that what they're saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah. Yep. 100,000 strong. I think maybe 110 was thrown in there.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It was like every single one of them needs to kill 100 men.
Yeah. And, you know, maybe it is a little bit of Thorne just knowing that they're going to die, you know, and he wants to
protect their pride.
Yeah, I guess. And then also shit on Jon as much as possible before he dies, maybe. You know, it's like...
well, I think there's also the perspective that Thorne knows there's going to be a vote for the Lord Commander of the Night's Watch, and Jon's going with this logical side of things that is... the antithesis to what the Night's Watch is typically about.
That's right.
So Alistair Thorne's whole kind of campaign is just kind of being like, I do what the wall does, you know, like I do what the Night's Watch is known to do, you know. So like he's just trying to, you know, like, I think that's kind of it.
I forgot because whoever the guy from King's Landing, the bald
Slint.
Yeah, Slint. Whenever he's like, yeah, you know that vote's coming up and they don't like you at all. I think like because he like. Thorne was even like, you know, Jon, what are you? You're a steward. Who's actually in charge of the tunnel? The builders. What does the builder think? You know, he's like not even making the decision on his own. He's trying to like rope everyone into it. And then even that builder guy, he's like, I'm pretty sure he agrees with Jon.
100% does.
Yeah, but he's like, well, now you kind of put me in a shitty situation. Thorne, thank you. You know, a lot.
Boy, like, he's kind of like, no.
Yeah,
you know, he's like, I guess not, Sir Alistair. You know, it's like he knows Jon's right, but does he want to be because now the decision falls on him. Do you want to be the first guy to actually seal the wall for good? You know, have you ever seen a giant, Sir Alistair? He's like, no. He's like, I have.
Doesn't a giant literally? Like, but isn't that what actually happens?
Yes.
Oh man,
the giant lifts the fucking gate. You know, he's like he says like, something about how
4 inches thick. Like
it's made of 4-inch steel, and he's like, it's not enough. You know the way Jon's like, it's just not enough. There is actually one of the coolest like next episode is so fucking good. Like it is a great episode of this show. But someone that we're gonna, or not next episode, episode 9, the finale, or the penultimate to the finale.
All at the wall. That's gonna be nuts.
I think that's the last episode we have Gren, if I'm not mistaken.
No. Is that who I'm thinking of?
Gren's who holds the tunnel.
No, yeah. Oh, he's one of the good ones, man.
Yeah.
Dang. I didn't know if I was confusing him for
we might lose Pip as well.
Yeah, Pip. That's who I was thinking of.
I think we lose him too.
Yeah.
I think we lose both of them.
Oh, man. Yeah. Yeah.
Hold on to Dolores said though, which is nice.
Yeah, not a lot of people make it out of that battle, huh?
No. We're kind of left with John, Sam,
Gilly. Does Gilly find her way back? Like, how do they find each other again?
Yes, I think she shows up to the wall early next episode, because she hides away underneath the castle, and Janos Slint eventually hides under there.
That's right. Oh yeah. Oh, he hides with. That's right. Yeah. Oh, I forgot. He can't. Yeah, he just goes.
It's pretty fucking terrible. But we are next in the Riverlands, where Arya and Sandor Clegane, the Hound, encounter a dying man in a ransacked village, and Sandor gives the man a gift of mercy. You know, this whole conversation was fucking incredible. By the way,
yeah, this was my other line that might have been instead of Oberyn. It was just the interaction that Arya had with him. Like, you know, nothing could be better than this. You know, like, this is the worst shit you could ever be going through, and he was just like, maybe nothing is worse than this. You know, there's no way to know. Like, he was just a very philosophical. I mean,
and Arya being like, there is nothing isn't good or bad. Nothing is just nothing.
And the no one arc that she'll eventually go on, was really nice just to hear it here. So that's why I put it in here.
And just kind of this is something that I think this show loses by having 13 episodes over 2 seasons in season 7 and season 8. You know, I enjoy season 7 and season 8, but you do not have scenes like this random fucking encounter where the Hound and Arya are just walking along and they happen upon this dude and he's dying and they have this whole conversation. It's one of Arya's, it's a very formative moment on Arya and a very formative moment for the character, the Hound, which is why he gets my character for the episode. Ooh. Loved the Hound in this one.
Okay. Wow.
Him being like the respect he shows this man, you know, like he's just kind of like, damn, that's not good, man. Yeah, you need help? And he's like, I don't think there's much help I can get. And he's like, well, I can do my best. You know, and the way he kills him and he, you know, and whenever he looks at him and the Hound just kind of nods at him. Not it's just kind of you earned this. You've gone through hell, and
the best kind of moment you could have at the end there, you know, just 2 random people coming. Probably thought he was already dead, and he didn't. This conversation wasn't even real, you know. But no, the Hound, before he met Arya, it would have just been slices through, you know,
just fucking Silva.
Yeah, something right away, and not even thought about it.
Right.
But no, even use it as a lesson to be that's where the heart is.
That part's always
that's
kind of
how
funny
you kill
to
a
me
man.
Too. That's where the heart is.
Yeah.
That's how you kill a man. And then he gets ambushed and someone starts biting his fucking neck, right in that fucking moment.
Not how you kill a man.
No, it is not how you kill a man. But he immediately snaps the dude's neck on his shoulder when he bites him. And it's just bleeding from the neck. And then it's Rorge. Rorge is back.
Yeah. And he's damn.
Arya's like, yo, this motherfucker. What the fuck, man? He said he would fuck me bloody with a sword. I'm gonna kill this motherfucker. You know, Sandor being like, is he on your little list? You know, he's like, I'm gonna take a step back on this one. Yeah. You got this.
Yeah.
And she's like, he can't be on the list. I don't know his name. What's your name? You know, I like that. Wasn't it the Hound who asked?
Yeah. No, the Hound is immediately, what's your name?
Rorge.
Thank you. Yeah, little dance move there,
right,
you know,
that to his heart. Also, boom. That's where the heart is. That's how you kill a man. Immediate little pull through from that, which is very cool.
Scene. Great little scene here.
And if this one didn't have Oberyn volunteering to be Tyrion's champion, this was going to be my scene up until that moment.
I'm glad he gets the character nod though, so we can actually
Well, and this isn't the last little bit with him that I really, really liked. There's another moment here before long that I absolutely adore, but you know, after all this, the Hound is kind of clumsily trying to dress his wounds from the biter, and Arya's like, "Yo, I can I can burn that. I can do something for you. He's like, no fire. And they go back and forth for a second. He asks, so your brother gave you that sword? And he's like, yeah. Or she's like, yeah. And he's like, my brother gave me this. And he tells the whole story about his facial scars being burnt.
Like finally opening up. Like he opened up. Like Arya wasn't like
that was voluntary
poking around it. He was like, I guess she was like, all right, let me burn it. And he was like, no fire, no fire, no fire. So maybe he had to justify it. But no, like I feel like he was really opening up on his own. He doesn't have to.
Everyone, he's always shown that he's afraid of fire, and never once has he tried to explain why he's afraid of fire. Like, you look at his face and you know why he's afraid of fire. You know what I'm saying? But like, he provides a justification that he's never really, Littlefinger says something to, I think it was Sansa in the first episode that was like, or second or third episode or something, where he's like, yeah, don't ask him about that though. You don't want to ask him.
No man even lives to hear it. Apparently there is a tale, but no man lives to hear it or something, or like, I don't know if he actually says that, but
no, it was, I was very close also to going with Rory McCann as Sandor for this moment whenever he's telling the story. And he's like, Arya's like, why'd he do it? He's like, he thought I stole his toy, I didn't steal it. I was just playing with it. Yeah. Like, to be trapped in that moment, because like he becomes, when he says that, he sounds like a kid, to be like eternally trapped in that moment.
I was just playing with it. Like I was just playing with it, man. Yeah. No, this is a really good scene.
Fantastic scene.
Starting off with like the dying man, the lesson learned right there, and then opening up like to Arya. That man, I like this whole Arya and the Hound is so good.
The Hound had a really, really good episode for me, so I went ahead and gave him another character nod here.
I like that.
But yeah, he's like, so you really think you're alone, and that's when you realize like he's just fucking lonely, man. He feels so isolated, and like, and Arya's like, well, then at least let me clean it and stitch it, and Sandor's like, yeah, fucking fine.
Yeah, and it. Maybe that's, because even, like, why go through all this trouble just for a little bit of silver or whatever, but maybe he's going through all of it just to have some company, with him along the way. He's like, fuck King's Landing, fuck the king, I'm leaving. But then in this way, I guess he has someone with him, to go on his travels. But, Arya and him are, man, this was their story's always been good. Like, I remember back whenever they killed like the soldiers that is the reason that they have the bounty. Like that was a really good scene whenever they were at that inn and sitting there. But this one I think is like
whenever Roar just like, there's a bounty on your head, and he's like, oh, and you thought you were gonna fucking collect it. Is that right, Roarge?
Roarge, I love how he's like, the dude comes up, bites him, and then Roarge is just like standing there after he snaps the neck like, shit.
Yeah, he's kinda like, well, I'm fucked now, you know?
Yep. Well, our plan did not go.
He's like, I was kind of counting on that.
Roarge, we do have an official Arya kill list, like an actual name crossed off the list. It was put on the list and taken off in the same moment, but she would have killed him. If she knew the name of Roarge, she probably would have been on the list. So I did like that. No Hodors though at all.
I loved that scene, man. The way Arya's like, this motherfucker, I recognize you. She's like, oh, I'm gonna kill this dude bad.
This day couldn't have gotten better. Yeah,
exactly. Didn't the Hound say something about how this day's not working out for you the way you thought it would?
Like, wow, this isn't going how you thought, huh? Something along the lines. Yeah, like it was a very good day for them, very bad day for Roarge and Biter guy, whoever that guy happened to be. Didn't get his name before the Hound just, cleanly snapped him off. But this, I don't know, man. This, if Oberyn wasn't in this episode and that champion, scene wasn't in there, this would have been probably the best scene of the episode.
Yeah, and pretty much any other episode, this is like an easy fucking choice. Wow. It's kind of incredible how good that scene was. So we've had a lot of beef with D&D as far as what they've done in other aspects of the story, but I want to give them some respect because that was a very well written scene, which I don't think we don't get a ton of. And I wonder how just faithfully adapted that was. Like if it really was just like, this is exactly what happened in the books. There was no need to do some other shit with it. But all the while, still in the Riverlands, Brienne and Podrick stop at an inn where they are served kidney pie, which Brienne has to compliment. Oh, this kidney pie, it's very good. And it's hot pie. Yeah. Back like he never left.
Turned off by a kidney pie, but and then I heard it was hot pie, and I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'll actually try that from hot pie. You know, this dude's a pretty renowned cook here. You know, maybe he can make kidney pie actually sound pretty good.
He does a pretty good job. You know, he's like, the key to food is the ingredients.
Yeah, he just sits down, just completely on his own, like, well,
and then he says a bunch of stuff that feels blatantly fucking obvious to me. I don't know. You know, the key to making good food is the ingredients you use.
Mm-hmm. Gotta get a good cut of meat. You know, it's hard to find good meat around here. Gotta have good meat to have it be good. Oh, okay.
Gotta have good meat to serve good meat.
Yeah. Let's skip out on the other. Oh, and the gravy.
Don't get me started on the gravy. A lot of people give up on the gravy, but you cannot give up on the gravy.
No gravy, no pie. You gotta have the gravy for the pie. Yeah, the hot man.
And they're just like, pie. Okay, dude.
Yeah. Like, all right.
He's like, you seem like you got armor on. You a fucking knight? In classic hot pie fashion, assuming everyone who has armor is a knight. And she's like, no. You know, like, what the fuck is wrong with you, dude? And he's like, I don't know, man. I just assumed. She's like, I'm actually in the service of Lady Catelyn Stark. I'm trying to find and protect Sansa Stark. And Hot Pie's like, Starks, huh? I don't know nothing about that. Well, I'm just gonna get up and go. Hope you don't mind.
That lot from Winterfell, right? Like I love
from Winterfell.
Does he actually know Winterfell, but he's playing as if he doesn't? You know, there. Do you think
I don't
he actually says like he actually thinks it's Winterfell?
He has previously said Winterfell, like whenever he was talking to Arya earlier on in the show.
Oh,
so like that was. That. I don't know if that's necessarily him playing dumb and being like, "Oh, I really know nothing about that," or if he does truly remember that it is Winterfell and is trying to be like. Winterfell? I don't know nothing about them.
I mean, he definitely is playing dumb here because he's like, oh, yeah, I don't...
Well, he sat down and talked for 5 fucking minutes straight, and then the moment the Starks come up, he's like, well, I better go. You know?
Yeah.
And Brienne and Podrick just kind of look at each other like, okay, that was weird, right? But they don't inquire any further, and as Brienne and Podrick prepare to leave the inn, Podrick looks at her a couple times, and she's like, what the fuck's up, Pod? You got something to say? He's like, yeah, I mean,
no,
the Lannisters are paying good money for Sansa, and I don't feel like we should be telling everybody that we're just looking for Sansa. Feels like a bad move. And she's like, hey, I'm gonna do what I do, all right? This is how I do shit. And it's quickly paid off when Hot Pie approaches and is like, yo, so I don't know no Sansa, but I do know Arya Stark. And Brienne's like, she's presumed dead. She's been missing since season 1. Obviously doesn't say that, but essentially she's been missing since season 1 of this show, man. What are you talking about? And he's like, yeah, but I mean, like, I have definitely seen her. She's last I saw, she was alive. She was taken by some dude with a burnt up face, and Podrick's like, oh, that's the Hound. And you know, I love the way that they're just kind of like, okay, thank you very much, Hot Pie. And he's like, give this to her. I love that, like, so they stayed overnight because that's what the inn is for. I'm assuming they stayed overnight.
Mm-hmm.
And he saw them and was like, okay, well, I got to tell them this, but first I got to bake this kick-ass wolf bread. Okay, I got to do that. I got to do that before they leave.
Hey, this one looked a lot better too. I mean, this one looked
made a lot of progress. Yeah. Our little Hot Pie.
I love how Brienne is like, really, Podrick? Yeah, you won't. You know, should we not mention this now? Because they're definitely going to eat that shit. They're not going to wait to give it. You know, they're they're instantly eating that whenever they're on like the road. But
she's like, what was that? What was that you were saying? about not telling people about Sansa. You know, she's like, yeah, look at that. Now we're on track to find Arya. Maybe Sansa's there with her. And I like that, the things that, you know, we've seen previously Podrick be kind of useless for. You know, as far as a squire is concerned, the things Tyrion did teach him are coming into great effect here, as they are going to be heading for the Eyrie after he deduces, you know, Arya's captor is probably going to try and ransom her, and you know, he's like, I'm assuming that's going to be Lysa Arryn, is the only place where he has any chance of a reward, and therefore we're going to head to the Eyrie. And I like the way that they showed, like, it's just so funny that, like, literally, if they go down one of those roads, they can't get to the Eyrie. You know, it's like there's no connecting roads. There's no way we can get
from this point. No matter, you know, it's TV. You know,
two roads diverge in a yellow wood.
Yeah, a fork in the road. But I love how, you know, Podrick is just like, yeah, no, Lord Tyrion had me know where everyone lived and who they hate. You know, figured it was pretty important. And now, I mean, now coming in and being useful, and even Brienne's like, you know, are you sure about this? And he's like, not really. You know, no. And she's like,
no.
Okay. You know,
not particularly.
I guess, like, maybe she was just looking for the honest answer, I guess. I don't know. But, like, it's not.
I think that's kind of the conclusion there, is that, like, Brienne was just preaching, like, we should be honest, we should tell the truth, and our intention should be paid off. And I think it's him kind of following suit there, like, kind of being like, you know, no, I'm not entirely sure. I don't know how we possibly can be. We've just got to kind of go with our best guess, you know, like that's all we can do. But that concludes the scene there, and we are heading to the Eyrie for the final location, where, while wandering the Eyrie snow-covered courtyards, Sansa tries to build a snow replica of Winterfell to the best of her memory. That was kind of sad too. You know, like
this whole thing. She's even walking, like, sees the snow and just instantly reminded of Winterfell, and then decides to build it right then and there. Like, like Winterfell's not even built. She just, like, looks at the snow and, like, she's like, home, like, cold. Like, I don't know. Usually everyone, like, you would think being in King's Landing would be nice. Like, oh, that's a vacation weather. But, like, no, the snow and, like, that being home to her. Like, yeah, this was all just so sad.
It was good, man. But Robin happens upon her and is like, oh, damn, man, that's cool. You're building a little castle out of snow. That's dope. Where's the moon door, though, bro?
You're missing something quite obvious. In every castle has.
Yeah, we don't have a moon door over there. I can add one. Robin's like, yeah, it should be right there, and he knocks over a whole top of a castle, and then we see Sansa, who is, we were reminded, still a child. You know, like, I understand this is close, this is important. You know, you're remembering home. You don't really want it to be ruined, etc. The kid knocks over a little part of your tower. You know, don't call him stupid, man. It's okay. You know, like,
stupid. Yeah, every stupid she gives, that the real stupid. You know,
they've been getting a lot more prevalent lately. You stupid little boy. You know, slaps the shit out of him.
Yeah, at first I thought the little moon door thing and, like, this, just to have some conflict in between them. But I think it's more of, like, to show how sheltered Robin is. Like, he actually thinks every castle has a moon door. And he's like,
no, he hasn't left the fucking Eyrie. This is where he's been his entire fucking life.
It got me to think of, like, princes back in the day, like, in the real world, were brought up in their castles, and, like, that's all they knew. That's how they thought life was. So, like, throwing people out of moon doors is just nothing to them, because that's just how it's done. And it's like, you get, like, your morals, or, you know, or kind of, you get them from growing up, and that's how they stick with you. And I don't know.
The way Sansa's like, the moon door is stupid, and him being like, it's not stupid.
Yeah, like, oh, that was the line. Yeah, like, that's calling him stupid, slapped, or not. I guess she hasn't slapped him yet, but, like,
no, it's after he destroys the entire castle that she takes it upon herself to slap the shit out of Robin. And she's like, oh no, I'm so sorry. And Robin's like, I'm gonna tell my mom. And he runs away. All the while, Peter has witnessed this entire encounter and assures Sansa that Lysa's not going to be a problem.
Children. I love Aidan Gillen, and, like, just his voice. Like, Just he plays the character so well. Just the
Yeah,
slide.
and this does provide us one of the more disturbing scenes of the show, where Peter's like, he wishes he had been Sansa's father first. That's the first thing he goes to.
Yeah. Like, he's bringing up so many details. Like, it's leading towards a kiss, and that's what I like. And I'm like, but the details he says before, I could have been your father, and like, what a child you are. Like, and like all these things to like lead you away from a kiss. Like, that's not.
You're more beautiful than the woman I loved ever was. Come here.
Like, oh man, you couldn't have said it like any worse things before this kiss here. It was like just so blah. But he thought, he really thought that he was doing something here. Like, I don't know, like in his head.
And I want to ask, I do think there's no question that Peter is attracted to Sansa as a result of her looking like her mom. I think that's a big time, definitely happening. But do you think there's a chance that he knows Lysa sees this and he gets to act on something to protect Sansa?
No, that was the other part that was like sort of making me okay with the kiss, because like it didn't seem, it was just like a smooch, and like he didn't like full on try to make out whatever, and like so I think and like it immediately panning up to show like Lysa. I'm like, okay,
he's a smart guy. I feel like he knew that this would lead to some sort of encounter between Lysa and Sansa. It would justify his murder of Lysa, because you got to think that his goal here is to marry Lysa and kill her so that he has control of Eyrie. That is 100% the case from the get go.
Oh yeah. I think it's 50-50 though here. Like I think
there's an alternate thing that like leads him to be like, well, yeah. But the other thing that I'm thinking is that for him to show up to the Eyrie with Sansa, marry Lysa, and then for Lysa to die, if Sansa's not aware of that thing happening, like wasn't there to see it, she knows for a fact Littlefinger murdered her.
Okay.
He needs a reason to protect her and kill her.
And to give,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because I mean, and he probably thought far enough ahead that like, well, I guess he needed her to be in the room to like have a witness, because if it was just Littlefinger and Lysa and then she ended up dead, like they'd be like, no, you killed her. Like if they didn't have the witness of Sansa to be like to lie, they don't
That's
know.
A good point too.
If they didn't have that, they would have definitely just found him guilty right away. But like he
the thing
needed...
is if it's like any other character who does something like this, I'm not thinking like, oh well, clearly he was thinking this far ahead. No, like this guy definitely thinks that far ahead. That's his whole thing.
He literally just killed the king. And so I think this is definitely like it's a perfect way to get, because he knows Lysa will go crazy, not on him but on Sansa. And so he'll know something will happen between them. Not quite sure what, but perfect. Worked out perfectly for him.
Big time.
I think that's maybe I said 50-50, that like it's for
60-40, 65-35.
Probably more like definitely to get control of the veil and like all that, but like also the cherry on top for him is being able to kiss.
This is the closest thing I'll ever have to kissing Catelyn Stark. And that's the thing, is that I don't think it's even about Sansa, which is even like, there's a whole other layer there that I don't feel like peeling back. But
no, because I mean that's the line he says at the end. Like I've only
ever loved one woman.
Yeah, like
his sister.
Like I think that's all he sees in Sansa, is that it there's some connection to Cat, and that's it. Like that's it.
Yep, Cat's dead now. You can't have Cat. But later on, Sansa is summoned by Lysa, who delights in telling Sansa the gory details about Moondoor executions. And Lysa then grabs Sansa and is like, look down there, you see that? Yeah, how about kissing Peter, huh? What if I just tossed you down this fucking Moondoor, huh? How would you like that, huh? And Peter walks in, is like, yo! Cut the shit!
Yeah. Let her go. Let her go, let her go, let her go. Okay, thank you. Now you finally let her. My silly wife, my sweet wife.
My darling, you are such a mess. I love you so. Rise, please, rise with me. Stand right in front of the moon door, if you will.
And like, and of course he has to deliver a line to her right before he pushes. Like makes her think that everything's okay. Like, yeah,
My darling, I have only ever loved one woman. Your sister.
how brutal is that for that to be your last memory? Like,
Well, and then not only that, the moon door executions are like particularly brutal because like, whereas with a beheading, the moments leading up to the beheading are, you're like, well, I'm going to fucking die, like this is death. But you're not actively dying as that's happening. You get your head cut off and that's it. When he's like, I've only ever loved one woman, your sister, she has a good 5 minutes to think about that before she dies. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's a long fall. You're right. Because that's the thing with a fall like that. Like, if you know you're falling, some people that jump off like buildings, they have a heart attack in the air. So sometimes they're even dead before they hit the ground, which is nuts. But I like in this, like, I don't like she didn't know it was happening. I feel like she's actually falling and like just thinking about it the whole time as she falls.
Damn, man, I really got played on this one.
I wonder. I was watching. Do you actually see her splat at the end?
I don't think you do.
And like, okay, I was trying to look close, but like, yeah, I didn't.
And I think it's effective in trying to display that they're not trying to tell you exactly how far of a fall that is. They're just kind of being like, "Yep, she just keeps fucking going." That's kind of the vibe there. But that concludes the episode, and we have another goodie on our hands. What where do you think we're sitting at with this one on a rating?
Ooh, okay. Enjoyment. Let's see. I don't know if it's quite. Well, last episode was pretty kill. I mean, the trial was nice, and I don't know if it necessarily stacks up to that, but like I don't know, like the Hound and Arya, like that's
Hound and
like,
Arya,
that was,
Oberyn
like,
and Tyrion,
like
Tyrion and Jaime, Tyrion and Bronn.
Like all these scenes were just very, very well done, and I'm not bored like through any of it. And I want like to see all of it. Like I guess the slower moments of the episode would be like at the wall, and Thorne's just picking on Jon,
right?
And so I guess that's like the lowest point of the episode, maybe.
Yeah, I'm like my floor. I think is a 9.25. Like I don't think I can go. I don't think I can go much lower than last episode. I don't think I can go higher though. I think it would be either a 9.25 or a 9.5, and I think a 9.5 or a 9.25 is more where I'm landing there.
I think I like that. Yeah, not quite last episode, but really, really close to it. Yeah. I don't think I could put it on the same level, but I think more like, just evenly spread out this episode is than last episode though. Like I think this one is like throughout the whole episode, I'm enjoying it. Not, I mean more because the rating is still a little lower, I guess. But like, I don't know. A little more fulfilling, I guess, for some scenes. Like the smaller scenes were nicer.
I get that.
Yeah, and then
I do.
I don't know. This one was visually. I really like noticed it visually. I mean, I finally on my TV I noticed that like it was on this mode for like if you're playing games and stuff. So it was really bright, the refresh rate very. The blacks were like all blown out. And like I finally put it on the cinematic mode, and whoa, did that make a difference?
TV settings they're very fucking important. I can't emphasize that enough.
So this was maybe I noticed the visuals a lot more because of that. Maybe and I thought it looked a lot better than other episodes, but I don't know. I think this one was shot
it's that good though,
very well. And like I don't know. I think like the writing of like I keep coming back to the Hound and Arya, like that scene, like how well that was written, how well Oberyn's, like him explaining why he's going to be Tyrion's champion. Like all of this stuff is like written very well, shot very well, performed very well. It being Pedro's first scene is nuts. I still can't really believe that. But I don't know. I don't know if is it up to the same standard as last episode.
I think it does a very, very good job. I don't think it's quite as well written purely from a conversational standpoint. Not necessarily like the situations. Like I think they handled the scenes very, very well. Like where they start, where they go, where they end, sort of in a sort of sense. But that I think that there were certain things where, like, whenever the Hound goes, that's where the heart is. That's how you kill a man. It doesn't feel natural to me, you know? And that's, I think Rory McCann does about as good as you can with it. But we got Arya here, who she knows where the heart is. She knows how to kill a man. That's you know what I'm saying? It kind of felt like it kind of felt like just a moment so that they could pull it through a couple seconds later when she stabs a man in the heart. But I think you could do that without making it explicit and being like, that's where the heart is. That's how you kill a man. That sort of thing. I don't know. I think it was, I'm nitpicking there, but that's sort of an example of what I think D&D do in their writing is a little bit of they do a little bit of exposition when they don't need to, I don't think. Like I think in a book, if this is a line ripped from the book, I think it makes more sense. I think it makes more sense in a medium where you're reading, not seeing, you know.
That'd be really funny if they just like took this right from the book, you know. If like we're saying like how well like we like the scene and like how the pull throughs were so nice and like, yeah, let's give D&D some credit. It'd be really funny if this is like
I have little to no doubt that that's the case, if I'm being honest.
But okay, I
don't think I can quite give it last episode. I think it's every bit as good looking, but you know, there's nothing in this episode that's written quite as well as the trial, you know? Yeah.
And that it just felt so much more grand to last episode. So no, I think, like 925 is the next lowest that we've given, episodes, like Oathkeeper, episode 4, and then episode 2, Line in the Rose, we're given 925s critically. And then the next step down is an 875, episode 1.
You know, if you scroll down on the fandom in the books, this episode is adapted from the following chapters of a Storm of Swords. Our favorite scene. Oberyn Martell tells Tyrion the story of how, when he first met him as a baby, both Oberyn and Elia were disappointed to find he was only a dwarf and not the monster they'd heard about. Chapter 65. Arya and the Hound find a dying man. He asks the gift of mercy, and the Hound kills him.
Oh, it's too good. It's too good. It's, you know, I didn't want to just explicitly say that, like, yeah, that's what they did because it's D&D. But man, is it so good to find out that's actually how it happened.
Yeah. Tyrion, there's a few more. Tyrion learns that Cersei will name Gregor Clegane as her champion. He is then visited by Bronn in his cell. But Cersei has arranged for him to marry Lolla Stokeworth.
I guess if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know, they knew these books were that good, and it's like, obviously they're gonna have to follow it pretty closely. Like,
interesting. The story Oberyn told is a different chapter, and it wasn't back to back. He tells that story at a different point in the books than he does volunteer to be his champion. So they kind of put that together, which is, I appreciate that choice.
Yeah, I think that is actually better there. That would. So, like, he tells the story before at some point, and then later on, he's like, "Yeah, I'll be your champion." So, like,
yes. Because it's kind of a series of visits in the books where he's visited by Jaime, then he's visited by Bronn, and then he's visited by Oberyn.
Okay.
We see that Arya learns about Joffrey's death, and she and the Hound engage in a brawl. That's those are 9 chapters apart. The finding a dying man and engaging in the brawl. Sansa, yep. The pretty much every scene we spent time on is straight up adapted out of the books.
Which there's only so much I can hate on that. It's like,
no, yeah, like that's what I want you to do.
Yeah, at the end of the day, if you don't know what to do,
you know what you're good at. Yeah. And what you're good at is just taking what happened in the books and doing it. Like, I'm 100% cool with that. But stuff like this is what grants people credence in their idea that they are not very good beyond adapting things straight from the books. And even then, you know, they did make some good choices. You know, putting those scenes like right next to each other and stuff like that. Like, I think those make a lot of sense. I think they made some logical choices that do work. But again, work well for a television medium, because again, like, there's a difference between books and TV, and certain things will work in a book that won't work on TV. And I think that they did They did a good job at adapting it the best they could.
Yeah.
I talked like I fucking hate D&D, but I'm still going to give this one like a 9.25. I think.
Yeah, I mean, they still gave us probably the best show that's ever been made on TV ever. You know, I mean, like it did come from the source of George R. R. Martin, and like that's where all the writing stuff comes from. But I mean, without them, you know, I guess it could have been someone else. But they did. I mean, no one really hates the first 6 seasons of the show. Everyone is
gotta credit D&D here because they were the ones who they pitched this to HBO. They were like, "Yo, we want to do this." It's not like HBO was shopping Game of Thrones. Like, who wants to do this?
Yeah,
they brought it to Game of Thrones and they brought it to HBO and were like, "This is what I'm interested in doing." And this is, I believe, man, they'd done some work before this, which is interesting. I've never looked into this. Wrote X-Men Origins Wolverine, so that's good.
No way. That's incredible. Okay.
Yeah, that sucks.
Oh, that's
and then
awesome.
Just a bunch of other schlock.
Huh. They wrote that?
Yeah, they
isn't
wrote.
That like, isn't
at
that
least David Benioff did. Let's see if D.B. Weiss did.
That's incredible.
D.B. Weiss did not write X-Men Origins Wolverine. David Benioff did.
Huh.
It looks like D.B. Weiss doesn't do a lot of the writing beyond Game of Thrones, which is interesting.
D.B. Weiss, he has 4 writing credits. Always Sunny in Philadelphia episode, and then an idea of a video, Game of Bones, Winter.
Yeah, winter is coming.
And coming as in C-U-M-M-I-N-G. What the?
Yeah, it was D.B. Weiss's idea, this porn parody.
Wow, that's incredible. Okay. We know where
it's based around Podrick.
No way. We would have actually seen Pod go into town?
Yep, looks like it.
Podrick
performed by Anthony Rosano. Looks like it would have had Talisa and Rob. Would have had a random prostitute. Someone called the Tight Walker.
The Tight Walker. Oh my god!
We've got a Daenerys Targaryen and a Dario Naharis. Got an Ygritte and Jon. Got a Marjorie, a Cersei, a Tyrion, a Joffrey, a Jorah, a Varys.
White wedding guest. White wedding. It would have been called the White Wedding.
Oh no!
Oh my god! Wow. An idea.
Wow.
It's just an idea. How they got this far as to actually casting people though?
It's an hour. No, like it was made. It's an hour and 50 minutes according to IMDb.
Wait, like an actual porno?
Yeah, I'm assuming so.
Oh my god. This is no. Game of Bones. What's the...
Yeah, no, there's one user review, which is incredible.
One guy was brave enough to be like,
one person was brave enough to be like, I watched this and let's be real about it.
Oh God,
talented sex performer stuck in stupid parody. Leroy Myers, the director and writer of this parody, ranks among the most prolific porn parody pornographers, pardon my alliteration, and here put zero effort into movie making with only the sex footage salvageable. It's dumb beyond belief with crummy sets, awful wigs, stupid dialogue, and in the case of Tommy Pistol meets Dana DeArmond, embarrassing overacting. Pistol even recycles some of his amateurish, childish Pee Wee Herman imitation. Sex highlights include a lengthy masturbation segment by April O'Neil with a large dildo, presented in black and white, with O'Neil wearing a blonde wig. Best actress here is Tanya Tate, looking good and less tacky than her co-stars, having hot sapphic sex with brown-wigged Aaliyah Love after Love recites a dumb recap of various characters' fates, including hardy har fake depictions of squirting and cum shots up into the air.
Oh my god! Wow,
I think this review was anonymous. No, lore_, LOR_. And 2 people have liked the review. 2 of 2 found this review helpful.
Oh my God! Well, we know where D&D's minds were when they were making this show. If this is just something he had to get out. Like that's insane that he like this wasn't like is he actually he.
He's credited with the idea, and I don't know what that means beyond.
Yeah, like how involved was he in this? That's insane.
He couldn't have been very involved. That's fucking hilarious.
Wow.
Though.
Wow. What a find there. That's
Game of Bones.
Winter is coming.
coming.
The White Wedding. Wow. That's like I would have
Sorry for all the porn talk, everybody, but we had to go with that for a while. That was hilarious.
Yeah. Wow.
You learn something new every week. But yeah, with this coming out to a 9.25 overall, that makes it top 3 this season?
I believe so. 9.5 last episode, then it would be episode 2, 9.42, and then to this one, a 9.25. Puts it barely above Oathkeeper, episode 4. And still above episode 1 and an 8.9, basically a 9 there. So yeah, I think it makes sense. Makes sense here. A lot of good moments in this episode. Lysa flying, Oberyn the champion, the Hound and Arya, and all their stuff. So yeah, no, this one was a goodie. I liked it. So
I liked it as well. And with that, I believe we will conclude this episode of Winter is Blooming. If you would, head to patreon.com/PennyBloomPod, where you'll find over 50 hours of exclusive content. We've got a $1.50 tier where you get nothing but written reviews. I just last week went to the Eras tour in Kansas City, the Taylor Swift concert. I wrote a review about that, the whole experience, and I'm excited for you all to read it over there for $1.50. Also seeing a ton of movies, writing and reviewing them. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, Past Lives. I did my June 1st viewings top 10, where I did a little more writing about Asteroid City. So if you're interested in that, that's over there for $1.50. And then for $3, you get all our audio content and fictional works. I wrote a short story that went up at the beginning of the month, and I'm very happy with it. And I hope you check it out too. Patreon.com/PennyBloomPod. You can support this podcast financially, which is huge because it costs me money, and I don't make any off of it unless it's over there. Head to Twitter, follow at PennyBloomPod, follow on Instagram and Threads at PennyBloomPodcast. Remember to leave a 5-star rate and review wherever you might be listening, and download some episodes. Share us with a friend. If you're a big fan of Game of Thrones and you know other people who are big fans of Game of Thrones, send us over to them. Give them the podcast. I think it's a gift that keeps on giving. I'm loving the rewatch, and I don't see any reason why anyone who loves Game of Thrones wouldn't love to rewatch it as well. But now we've got the Christopher Nolan director spotlight going on right now, in which last week we put out Dunkirk, and this week will be Tenet.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, this week will be Tenet.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very, very excited for you all to hear that. I was very happy with that movie, surprisingly so. And we're doing that in anticipation of Oppenheimer this Friday, which we will be talking about next Wednesday. So lots of goodies over there. We've talked about The Prestige. We've talked about Dunkirk. We're talking Tenet this week and Oppenheimer next. Very excited for you all to hear that. On Friday, we continue our comic book movie journey through film, wherein I believe this week is this one Elektra?
Constantine. Actually.
Constantine.
We get Keanu Reeves. Yeah, Elektra was last week.
Yes, Elektra was last week. I
finally some Keanu.
We record everything so staggered. You know, we build up the comic book project, we build up some Christopher Nolan, and I keep bouncing back and forth for the release dates. And sometimes
if I didn't have this calendar, I would be completely lost. I would not know.
I get you. But yeah, Constantine this Friday, so that's another goodie for us, and then V for Vendetta next Friday. So we got a lot of goodies for you. And next week we will continue our Winter is Blooming Game of Thrones rewatch with Season 4, Episode 8, The Mountain and the Viper. Quite the memorable episode, especially for those who can't forget the sight of Pedro Pascal's head exploding. With that, I was Colton Robertson. I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Oh, thank you for having me. Always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it is always a pleasure to have you. And remember, peace, love, and bloom. And it is rare to meet a Lannister who shares my enthusiasm for dead Lannisters.